Game time decisions on SportsGrid. We are in for a great one tonight. There is a lot to get to. Kevin Walsh, Gabriel Morency. I mean, we can look at yesterday. We can look at tonight, Gabe. You and I, this was not obviously intentional on a bunch of opposite sides tonight here. So this is going to be a good one.
I got two words for you, Kevin. Mamma mia. Mamma mia. And who would have thought that Mexico versus Italy, the final game of the opening round of the WBC, would be must-watch TV in the United States of America? Not in a million years. Nobody would have believed this, including the USA manager, actually, as well, which is another story.
He doesn't even know they're still playing. That is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Do they know now?
Because
have they already flown, Kevin? Have they already gone to Miami? Are they aware, actually?
All right.
And all kidding aside, they basically were packed. Like, they were like, yeah, we're ready to go after the game. Like, we're about to win and go on to the next round. The only thing I can equate this to is last year, Kevin, in the World Championships of hockey. All right, everybody pretends to care for a couple of weeks in the Olympics, but the World Championships is a big deal. Except it happens when the Stanley Cup playoffs are going on. It's kind of at the back end of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So there's teams that get eliminated from the NHL playoffs. Players will then go and play in the World Championships for their teams. And last year, Team Canada had Sidney Crosby, Macklin Celebrini, and Nate McKinnon, all on the World Championship team. And people are like, oh, this is an automatic. They're going to win for sure. And they actually didn't pack their bags once after a game because they assumed that, like, they wouldn't have to go back. And they had no clothes, Kevin. They were so sure they were going to win. They had no clothes after, right? They figured, no, we're not going back there, so don't worry about it. Just leave the stuff. They ended up losing. They ended up losing after. They didn't like people knowing that, right? But anytime, man, the bus is packed, Kevin, and the champagne's on ice, bro, in the locker room before the game's over. Like, USA basically had the itinerary. All right, we'll see you at the airport at this time. And now they're in the hotel. They're like a college basketball team, Kevin. Imagine Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper and guys, they're basically going to be like a college basketball team on Sunday praying, watching Selection Sunday.
It's pathetic, though. And the thing is, we can talk about the pitching. We can talk about the hitting. Mark DeRosa, the manager, who is a TV guy, right? No surprise, catches himself on TV, making his usual appearance on Hot Stove, says, yeah, we punched our ticket already. And, he at the post game was like, look, I misspoke. No, you didn't, because you let us know that guys were dragging this morning. They're out popping champagne, these clowns, just for being 3-0 in pool play. Even if you thought you advanced to the quarterfinals
for beating Mexico, Kevin. What are they
even
popping
if you
champagne
thought,
for?
Exactly. Even if you're like, oh, we advanced to the quarterfinals. Like, we pop champagne too much in Major League Baseball. If you win the wild card, the pennant, the division, cut it out, okay? So now they're popping champagne for no reason. Guys are hungover playing middle infield. And then the lineup told us they thought they had. Why is Paul Goldschmidt in the lineup? I know he got a base knock. Why is Paul Goldschmidt? Why is Ernie Clement? He's a good ball player. They didn't take it. They literally, the thing that people have been calling out them for, they did. They didn't take it serious. And now again, Nolan McLean, in this team giving up 8 runs, that's not supposed to happen. But when guys aren't dialed, this is what happens.
There was a lack of sort of passion. I'm not going to say intensity because they were almost too intense, but I agree. And listen, it's a short week to begin with, guys. Guys don't need rest. They can play back-to-back games, right? And it's not about not hurting feelings and making people happy. They didn't take Italy seriously, like point blank. Like, whether they knew or not, and I don't think they knew. I think DeRosa's lying in which he said he just misspoke, because if he did, they wouldn't have had the lineup that they did. They wouldn't have allowed the runs to continue during the game as it did. I just wonder at what point, if at any point, because I don't think they're being honest, is if somebody said to the dugout, oh, you know what? They're talking about this on the broadcast right now about how we're not and about how the runs allowed are important. Like, not even like what we score, runs allowed.
And then never came in. Like, it almost seemed like they were like, oh, let's do the cool
if you
Kershaw
know, that's
moment.
when you put Mason Miller in, bro. And you're like, all right, listen, I don't even care that it's 6-0 because we can't allow any more runs.
Yep.
Right? Because just imagine 100%. Now you'd have more wiggle room tonight, Kevin. Right?
Exactly.
It'd be like, oh, yeah, all right, you know what? If they score more than 2 runs, we're good. Now you need 4, right? You need 4 from Italy to get in, guys. So USA get in still. Italy score 4 runs tonight, no matter what happens in the Italy-Mexico result. USA advance because we're down to like the weird run stuff now allowed. Mexico win this game, and Mexico score 4 runs or less. So Mexico win 4-3, 4-2, 4-0, etc. 3, whatever. Mexico and Italy are both in. It's a really weird situation that the United States are in right now, Kevin.
No doubt about it. But I want to say, though, I think that
I put up the graph here because it's very simple for our viewers here. They should be able to figure this out in a sports bar. As you see here, Kevin, like what the hell is that?
Yeah.
You look at this, it's like, what the hell? I don't know. Like, come on, man. I've been a sports fan for a long time. I've been betting a long time. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, the flags are not helping. They're all blended together. They're all the same color. Here's what I know, though. If people have been tuning into this show on a nightly basis during the World Baseball Classic, I think that we've spoke pretty favorably of a lot of these other teams, right? You last night were all over Italy plus the 5.5. And I think Mexico is good. It's why the U.S. result being 5-3 wasn't like a 5-fire alarm, in my opinion. I played a little bit of Mexico to win this tournament game at around 22-1 before the whole thing started. So when I break this game down tonight, I am a little astonished at the total because one of my favorite things that you've said since we've been breaking down this tournament, Gabe, is how the bookmakers don't really know what they're doing. I almost feel like they posted the 7.5 because they go, well, if Mexico scores blank and if Italy can't allow this, I almost feel like they booked a total to the situation, not to the talent on the field.
There were 8.5s, and I think the public is all in on that feeling.
Yeah.
In that, well, if it's a low-scoring game, they're both in. Now, I don't know how you feel, but they do have Aaron Nola starting tonight. And I'm just sort of blown away, Kevin, we could talk about the total, but aren't you a little bit blown away by the actual number and the lack of respect for Italy?
It's moved a little bit, though,
game?
right? To your point. It's
moved
a little bit. Yeah.
Because I don't think people realized that Nola was going to be the starting pitcher. And I'm not even sure Italy was sure Nola was going to be the starting pitcher. I don't think Italy thought they were going to be in this spot. Right? So it's just sort of like, all right, what's next? And they're like, all right, Nola's good to go. So we're going to roll Nola out here, and that definitely has had an influence. I don't know how you feel about home field because it will be like a Mexican home game tonight. They took the stadium over against the U.S. Obviously, it's going to happen tonight, and I've already seen videos of the fans. They're really fired up, and saw a funny video. Like they said, what would you give up for Mexico to advance and the USA to get bounced? And they're all like, I give up sex, my passport. People are like all these Mexican fans.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like they want it.
Listen, and I'm sure they do. And we'll talk more about this. Obviously, this is, the biggest game on the slate tonight. We'll get to the college. We'll get to the NBA, I promise. But, like, Nola and Assad, this isn't skiing schoolball here. So we'll get into it a little bit more on the other side. Back with you guys here on Game Time Decisions. We're talking some World Baseball Classic here. Nola, Assad, booked like prime DeGrom against, Nolan Ryan in his heyday with this 7.5
is crazy.
Come on, Gabe.
And it's wild.
Come on.
As you just stated, we just saw. Another thing is, too, Italy can score. Like, Italy's, strength is their offense.
Yes.
Like, they slugged the ball, as we saw. Like, you know what I mean? These guys can hit. It wasn't just in last night's game. That's why it was a dangerous game. It's amazing. You nailed it, Kevin, as you talked about. Public perception. Everybody knows, low scoring. It should be, if it's low scoring, it helps both teams. If this was soccer or hockey, there'd be a wink-wink agreement, point blank.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really do that in baseball. What are you going to do? You know what I mean? And without being Captain Obvious about it, right? No, they're not going to go up there and try to strike out 20 times in a row.
No, you can't.
Right? You know what I mean? In hockey, though, you could just sort of sit back, pass the puck around. Soccer, they do it all the time. It's hey, listen, we both get a draw. We both, we'll both advance. It's yeah, whatever, dude. Just kick the ball around for 90 minutes, right? Or in the last 5 minutes, let someone win by 1 if it helps their aggregate or whatnot. I don't see how you really do it in baseball. Right? I mean, I think if you're Mexico and a Mexican baseball fan, that's the ideal scenario, that you win and you somehow won and you kept the USA out at the same time. But they got to worry about winning a game. And I know a lot of people are actually rooting for the USA to lose, even people in America, just for the negative story and to rip them and their anger and all this type stuff. But how are Italy such big dogs tonight, Kevin? I'm really blown away by this. Their lack of respect for the Italians.
Yeah, I think they're probably still trying to play catch up, though, right, Gabe? We've talked about it, where the U.S. was around a 3.5 run line favorite to Mexico, 5.5 to Italy. So they're probably trying to figure out which way they want to spin this year. And I think they've taken bets towards that Italy side. I want to make sure we bring up Venezuela DR. I thought this was going to be the game we would spend all night talking about. And I have a lot of conviction on the total that we just talked about. This is a spot where I'm kind of I feel like sometimes the trick, Gabe, in gambling is if I say value, you can't tell me it's a bad bet, right? If I go, there's value on Venezuela, it justifies that I'm getting a good number. I think that the Dominican Republic has looked like the most dangerous team in this tournament, but I think Venezuela is very talented. And I think, again, how I read it is I actually think Eduardo Rodriguez as a lefty could present some troubles and allow this game to stay tight early. So I took a chance on Venezuela on the money line. Again, I'm kind of screaming value, though. I totally understand being on the other side of this game.
There's only a couple of teams that can play with the Dominican Republic in this tournament, right? And Venezuela are one of them. You would say, all right, Japan, Venezuela, and the United States. Venezuela are good, but they don't have the same offensive potency as the Dominican Republic does. The Dominicans guys have scored 34 runs in 3 games. They've scored 10 or more in all 3 games as well. If you want to talk about being locked in, Japan are locked in their way, and Venezuela are locked in their way. But the Dominicans just have that flair, that passion. The team chemistry couldn't be any better. Everybody's just tearing the cover off the baseball right now. And yes, listen, he could. I mean, Rodriguez could cause him some problems, Kevin, but I don't see how we don't like the over of this game at 10.5. And remember yesterday we said, the total will be 10.5, 11 type of deal. I'm seeing 10.5s here right now. And you got Alcantara versus Rodriguez. It's not like Alcantara has been what he was from years ago. So I'm expecting runs in this baseball game. And the number has come down here as well because I laid 70 cents when I sent it in, and I'm seeing Dominican right now -1.5 and -140. But I have the Dominicans winning a super fun game tonight, 7-5, 8-5, something like that. You know what I mean? I think it's inevitable there's going to be runs scored, and it is important. And for the record, they both have officially advanced. There's going to be there's no shenanigans here. They both officially have already advanced, but big difference, man. And speaking of advancing, it's official. Team Canada advances in a WBC for the first time in their history. They've never advanced into the next round before. This is the first time that they do. They just beat the Cubans in Puerto Rico after beating Puerto Rico last night. So not only did Canada advance, Kevin, Canada wins the group at plus 350. Underdogs
You
in
called
the
it
house.
early. You said watch
Yeah.
out for them within that pool. I loved your tweet about how for Canada, the point of winning the group was to not have to play the U.S. In the quarterfinals, and yet somehow that could still be how this thing shakes. But Gabe, it's interesting. You say that you right now are seeing 1.5 at minus 140 in some spots, because I'm just using, the two primary books here, right? In terms of FanDuel and DraftKings, I see 2.5 minus 104 or even money. I almost wonder now, maybe that's the typical gap. You would know better than me. You kind of deal with more of the run lines than I do, but I almost wonder if it's like, look, if the DR are going to win this game, like maybe it's just going to actually be ugly, right? Where they once again score 10 and Venezuela is proven to not even have the offense to hang with these guys.
That's what I'm thinking ultimately.
Yeah.
That Dominican's offense, unless you just, Dominican Republic gets shut down offensively and you get a absolutely gem here from Rodriguez. But with that being stated, I just don't see.
What do you expect from Sandy?
Let me put it this way. I like the Dominicans minus the 1.5 more than the over. Even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't shock me if the Dominican Republic won this game 6-3. You know what I'm saying? 6-3, 5-2, 5-3. Like, Venezuela, this isn't a joke. It's not going to be batting practice for the Dominican Republic. But their offense is just so potent and so powerful. It's hard not to end up scoring runs. And we've seen, too, with the pitch counts, I mean, this tournament is generally an over tournament, Kevin, as we've seen for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, these games got out of control. I mean, for anybody that doesn't know,
the bullpens aren't that good.
No.
Like, that's the one thing with the
you don't have
Dominican
that
Republic,
much depth.
too. Like, exactly. The bullpens just don't have the depth, guys.
Yeah. We'll talk to Frank
and you're
Mish
not
after the break.
eligible if you pitch before.
Yeah. Back on Game Time Decisions, Kevin Walsh with Craig Mish, of course, Newswire Pro Baseball Today, covering all things Major League Baseball. And Craig, I think when we're right, we're right. And when we're wrong, we're wrong. And I feel as if when you yesterday told people, I probably won't watch much of USA Italy, you ended up being wrong. I imagine you were glued to the TV watching the USA get upset. I mean, Italy was almost plus 800 on the money line as they have really put the U.S. backs against the wall now here in pool play.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. I did think, of course, Team USA would win, but I do remember also saying to you, Kevin, that I was concerned that they just did not look right, and I still remain concerned. I'm just not sure that the odds are representative of that at this point, where the U.S. is still the favorite. I think whoever wins tonight's game, whether it's Dominican Republic or Venezuela, is going to take a big step forward in terms of the odds. But USA has no one to blame but themselves, and naturally, when you make a mistake in calculating if you're in or you're not, which it just seems to me has to be the case here. I really have no other plausibility here for what is going on here. That the USA's, really rooting for Mexico to score 5+ runs. I mean, I guess that's what happens here. But if Mexico wins this game 3-1 or 3-2 tonight, USA will not advance.
So before we get more to those scenarios, Craig, you alluded to something that it doesn't feel real, but all the evidence suggests it is that this U.S. team thought they had advanced to the quarterfinals already. And it's not just their manager, Mark DeRosa's, interview where he literally said, we punched our ticket to the quarterfinals. He even went on to mention how guys were dragging, they were out partying and celebrating. Even the lineup, right? Paul Goldschmidt, Ernie Clement at the back end of that. Craig, is it really possible that these guys didn't understand the format of which they're playing in?
It's still too early to tell, but that appears to be the case. I really have nothing else to say to it, or else, Dero, who, was obviously up for different managerial positions. I thought maybe at one point to be the manager of the Braves or the Rangers or even the Marlins, if you want to go way back when he interviewed before Don Mattingly did here several years ago. Great baseball mind, great baseball person, but something had to have slipped through the cracks here, as crazy as it sounds. That being said, my familiarity, Kevin, with the World Cup isn't like it is with baseball, but it feels like stuff like this happens during the World Cup too, where a team just falls flat or something goes wrong, and then they make a complete change at the top. And if the USA gets knocked out tonight, so to speak, it will be a complete change going into the next World Baseball Classic. I would assure you of that. Yeah,
that makes a lot of. I don't mean to hammer Dero, but Craig, people in Major League Baseball, and DeRosa's not just a guy who does TV, right? This is a guy who's been considered for multiple positions here.
Definitely, yeah.
This feels like a real black. I don't think you can tell me, Craig. I know you're not scared to. If I'm making a mountain out of a molehill here,
yeah,
it literally doesn't seem like he knew the rules. That is more than indefensible.
I think that during the day, it's possible. I think he probably did at night. I don't know that any of the managerial moves that he made during the night game were indicative of that. Again, I'm going to guess. I don't know this, and I haven't asked to get clarity. But I'm going to guess he went into the game that night, and somebody probably told him, hey, we're still not definitely in. I don't think that one thing had to do with the other, but it still doesn't matter because the optics are bad. And then naturally, when you're talking about hanging out in the clubhouse till 1 a.m., which, by the way, happens all the time, it is the World Baseball Classic. And so if there's going to be any screw-ups, you better plan on not losing a game where that kind of stuff's going to get brought up. It's a normal thing. It happens all the time. But in that spot, optics in this world, unfortunately, are everything. And right now, it's just all bad optics.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. Craig, your expectations, kind of, if any, here for the matchup between Mexico and Italy. This game obviously now becomes the most important game we've had so far in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, I think Mexico is going to probably win, but I can't, really put my finger on how that's going to happen. I don't know. I know the rosters, but I don't know a ton about a lot of the players on either side here. And make no mistake about it, the managers are going to play players on both of these teams that aren't going to have a big impact to make sure they get some international time. It's going to happen. It's happened in all the games thus far. So I'm a little scared here. I hope Team USA advances, but I certainly can't guarantee it. And I, at this point, sadly, would not bet USA to win at all after what's gone on here.
Yeah, this has been astonishing to follow. Craig Mish has been helping us out the entire way. It's a quick break. We'll be right back with more Game Time decisions on SportsGrid. Gosh. All right, we're going to rapid fire this quick, okay? Because Gabe's got the best in-game bet of the year already. I got a Marquette team total under 80.5 against Xavier. They've only cleared that 3 times in Big East play. I don't think the Garden always leads to scoring. I like Marquette under that number. They try to win with defense here. Gabe, you like a lot of these 6:30 games, and you've got an in-game look for people, which is just a jarring number.
Yeah, I'll throw up the in-game quickly because it's in-game. And I'm not saying this is a sharp bet. It's not a sharp bet. The number was 20.5, and I just laid 32.5, okay? But Air Force are that bad, guys. They're that bad. And we've been breaking down Air Force games all year. They lose by 40-plus all the time. You figure maybe there'd be like a military sympathy, take the pedal off the metal. You know, in the old days, coaches didn't like to run the score up on service academy teams, but those days are gone. Right? Like these teams are in conferences now, and it's just ruthless, cold-blooded. We got a football score, Kevin. It's 37-6 with 2 minutes left in the first half. Air Force guys have scored 6 points in 18 minutes of basketball.
What is their team total? 30?
I just laid 32.5. It's 39.5. Good question. What's their team total? It's going to be the lowest team total we've ever seen. Kevin, can you believe this? This is a football. This is like football, Kevin. First half team total, Air Force right now, 9.5. Can they get 4 more points?
No, come on.
Next 2 minutes? I don't think they do. I don't think they do.
Gabe, the full game's 44.
I got to see their game total.
How could that be?
What is it, 40?
How could that be? Where's this team finding 40 points? What am I missing?
Yeah, they're not getting to how. Like this final score of this game is going to be what? Like 75 to 32 or something? I think in that ballpark. Like, then Nevada aren't going to get to 100 on them. Like, they'll be like, all right, that's enough. But, like, they're already up by 31. And they can't roll over in the second half. It's the tournament, too. You got to keep it going. You got to be hot. Like, you can't just stop now. It's like, Air Force. Like, we got to play well. We can't.
27 from the field.
3 of 27.
3 of 27. 0 of 12 from 3.
So I laid 32 and a half in game. Not saying it's a smart bet, guys, but as you see, I got a puncher's chance here of winning. But all kidding aside, game going off the board right now. Northwestern. All right. How about this, guys? Northwestern have not only covered 6 straight times against the Indiana Hoosiers, they've beaten them outright 6 straight times. And in fact, they've beaten them 8 of the last 10 times that they played. They're 9-0-1 against the spread against the Hoosiers. Northwestern are playing good basketball by their standards right now. They've covered 4 of their last 6. They got the leading scorer in the Big Ten. Always like when you got a kid, and Martinelli, you know you're going to get 22 from. So you got the leading scorer in the conference. And Indiana, Kevin, just stumbling into this Big Ten conference tournament here. 1-5 ATS in the last 6. I'm getting 6.5 points with Northwestern. Too many points. And another game going off the board right now, guys. Missouri State and Liberty. This is for our boy AJ, and we got more of them a little bit later. The DGen special, Missouri State and Liberty, they got to 155. They played about 3 weeks ago. And we got 142.5 now. The Bears have scored 75 or more in 3 of their last 4 basketball games. They're 17-12 to the over on the year. The Flames are 16-12 to the over on the year. They put up 79 and 71 in their 2 conference tournament games. So far, we have a moderate total of 142.5. So Northwestern plus the 6.5, and Liberty and Missouri State, Kevin, over 142.5 for me at 6:30 here.
All right, yes, we got a couple of 6:30 picks off and running. Let's do the NBA then, Gabe, because there's a couple of interesting spots on the card tonight. I'm playing a couple of dogs on the side. I like both Orlando and Houston. The Magic are starting to play good basketball. A lot of it has to do with Paolo Banchero starting to look like himself. And it's dangerous because is that going to hold? But so far in the month of March, he's averaging 27 a game on 60% from the field. Chipping in almost 10 rebounds and 4 assists. And this is a Cleveland team. Still no Jared Allen. They've been playing a lot of home games. They've played 3 straight home games here. On the road, I think this could look a little different here. I think Orlando can win this game, but I think at 4, it's a good number to take. And then I also played the Rockets at 7.5. Denver's really good. They're still an injured basketball team who have played a lot of close games, Gabe. It's been a while since the Denver Nuggets have blown out an opponent here. I think this is a little too many points.
Every Denver, you are right about that. Every Denver Nugget game does seem to be close and come down to the wire. You have the Rockets coming off a back-to-back last night. Impressive win for them against the Toronto Raptors. So that's the one spot that I'm a little bit weary of. I wouldn't lay the 7.5 with Denver. I like Jamal Murray in that game, Kevin, personally. Jamal Murray's been a stud. They don't really have a ton of scores, this team. He flies under the radar. I don't know why he doesn't sort of get, people. Some guys get attention, some guys don't. But he's scoring like 25 points a game this year. And he's money. And one thing about Murray, Kevin, when you bet a prop with his, and I think at 21.5 tonight, too, we're getting kind of a lower number, a fair number, because he's gone under in 2 straight games. He had 21 the other night, and he had 12 the game before. But, dude, he was hurt in a game that he had 12, and he shouldn't have probably even played the other night, and he played. Right? But they said, he's always hurt, and he plays. And, you know what I mean? So it's one of these deals with Jamal Murray. So I don't think minutes will be a problem for him tonight. So I find 21.5 is a little light for Jamal Murray here. And listen, the Raptors, we boasted about them last night, and we pumped their tires about being a good road team, 19-11 and 16-10, and all that. 16-10 as an underdog on the road. Now they're going back-to-back tonight. Except the Pelicans, as you know, Kevin, are playing pretty good basketball right now. They've won 6 of their last 9 games outright. They've been like a scrappy home team, this team, but there's really no point spread here in this game. And it's good news, bad news if for the Raptors. If you bet on the Raptors, it's pretty simple. If you're an actual Raptor fan, it's not good news. The Raptors, Kevin, are 21-4 this year against teams with sub 500 records.
Wow.
They're 21-4 straight up against losing teams. That's insane. Like, that's good. Like, you handle your business, but they can't beat good teams. So they're going to lose in the playoffs. Like, the Raptors don't beat good teams. The Pelicans are not a good team, but they're playing good ball right now. I don't know how you feel about that game, but I think the Raptors are the play just because the Raptors do care. Their coach is a hard ass. They only scored 95 points last night. I could see them being in a bad mood tonight. And, oh, yeah, you got Brandon Ingram going back to Nolans as well.
I think it's a good look. I understand New Orleans is healthier, but I think this is a Toronto team who they're so young, like a back-to-back doesn't impact them as much. But, Gabe, I just want to expand on the Jamal Murray look by you. I was almost astonished to hear the number. And I don't know if the books are, like, being tricked by games he's left injured. Because if you remove those games, his last game logs are 39, 25, 45, 28, and 21. But, Gabe, he has not gone under 21.5 in 3 straight games, which is what this would be, since the first 10 games of the season. So these are the kind of spots that I love. It's an incredible
we're buying
pickup
low.
by you. It's a great
buying low.
He scored 21. It's Oklahoma City. I love Reed Shepard. Is Reed Shepard holding Jamal Murray? Like, what's going on? Yeah, that's
and he was questionable all day. And that's another thing. Bang, that you just brought up. Dude, he dropped 36 on them earlier this year on Houston. Great call by you, bringing up, like, who's going to guard him, right? And, you know, we're getting a shed. What's really good about Murray, too, is when you bet his prop, he's the type of guy, guys, where it's like, oh, you look at him, you're like, oh, man, he's only got 6 points in the second quarter, midway through the second. He can score like 14 points in like 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. And when he gets hot, the Nuggets give him the ball. It's like, just give him the ball, let him shoot his threes, let him take it to the rack, let him do his thing. He's going to score. He's one of the best, like, he can create. Like, he can really create for himself a lot. Like I said, he's an underrated player in the grand scheme of things.
Maybe he'll go for 83. We'll be right back here at the Game Time Discussions.
Bam!
Decisions back with you guys here on a Wednesday night. Yesterday was insane, right? There were a million different sports stories. Like a little, listen, we went out, me and the fiance to HomeSense. She wanted to go shopping. I said, no problem. But one of the aisles, she lost me because I was reacting to the Max Crosby trade getting called off. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. The Crosby deal I don't know what's happening here, Gabe. On a crazy night, that one I almost feel slipped under the radar, that Crosby is back with the Raiders, and everybody agrees. The Ravens pulled some dirty tricks here.
You know, it's one thing to turn your back on a trade, right? And say, listen, we found out some stuff that we didn't know. And they sold us we got hustled. We had no idea the extent of injuries, or once in a while, there's going to be sort of a controversy. Everybody knew that Max Crosby is not 100% right now, right? And that was never a problem before. It was always known that, listen, he's not really going to be able to work out and be good to go until like June or July, but he'll be good to go for the season. And, okay, fine. What I find to be the sleaziest part of this, Kevin, and it just turns out now, we find out now about this, dude, he was in the building with his family. Yeah. Like, he brought his family to Baltimore. He's in the complex. And he basically said, yeah, I got a weird feeling. People were like ignoring him and stuff. And while that was going on, they were trying to get out of the deal and get Trey Hendrickson. Like, it's unbelievable. Right. You want to talk about sleaze stuff. Like, okay, like, we always say, like, oh, who would want to coach LSU after? Who wants to coach LSU after they tried to rip off Brian Kelly? I don't even like Brian Kelly, but dude, you hired him. You got to pay the guy. Don't try to weasel out of the contract now. You got to pay the guy. So, it's unbelievable to me that it's basically in a very similar situation here. It's just an overall lack of responsibility here.
I think that there's a lot of people like, oh, people will trade with him. Don't worry. A deal of this magnitude does not get canceled. And again, look, we can play, oh, we don't actually know.
If you're a free agent, player now, like, why would you trust this team? I mean, especially if I'm like, man, I actually do have a little thing in my knee here. No, I'm not going to go through this and the public humiliation.
If they don't win a Super Bowl within the next 2 years, they will fire DaCosta. You can mark this right now. They will fire DaCosta if they do not win a Super Bowl in 2 years, because someone will have to pay for this. They made a gamble that, hey, listen, we found out we can get Hendrickson. We can send Max back, keep the draft picks. And that's what they did. And they have 2 years to win a Super Bowl, or they will clean house once again. Lamar will get himself traded to South Beach anyway. He'll be happy as can be. That's it, Gabe. Because stuff like this does not go away.
No, they've severely tarnished their reputation here.
Yeah.
With agents, with free agents, with players, with other teams to do deals with them. As I stated, like a situation like LSU, it's like, well, all right, they stiff Kelly, and and the classic, other coaches are going to notice this. Yeah, whatever, dude. They're just going to make sure they have a tighter contract with the buyout. Like, it didn't stop like Lane Kiffin from running to Baton Rouge. But this is the NFL. You have choices, right? Like, honestly, if you're an agent, you'd be like, no, I'm not dealing with them. How many other players does Matt Crosby agent deal with? I'm assuming probably quite a few, right? Like, so right away, you just upset like a little base. Max Crosby's buddies. How many people are his buddies with now? They'd be like, oh, I wouldn't trust the Ravens now after they just screwed him. If they screwed him over and he's better than me, what are they going to do with me? Well, like, it's just it's a lack of awareness. You know what I mean? Like, all right, you made the deal. You can legally get out of it. Fine. But, overall, you really, really, really put a black eye on your organization here from a ethical standpoint.
Yeah, maybe people start remembering that they basically, not the same thing, but they were the ones who screwed Lamar around, right? Like, they weren't sure if they wanted to pay Lamar Jackson, and they had trade blocks, and there was, Lamar was saying that they were, kind of everyone was getting together to not give him the contract here. The question I have, though, Gabe, is where do you think Crosby ends up now? Because this is still he's an odds changer, as I like to put it, right? Whoever gets him, their Super Bowl price is going to go shorter.
Dallas was in. They're out now. Buffalo just got Bradley Chubb. I feel like they're not going to be in the mix.
I almost feel like it's the same team all the time. And salary caps don't seem to matter on the West Coast. San Francisco.
I'm sure the Rams are calling too.
Yeah, I just sort of think, the Rams would be intriguing. The Super Bowl's in L.A. this year. They can sort of think short term here. But you really did put the Raiders in a horrible spot now. Because now everybody's going to be like, oh, so what's up with this physical? How bad is this really? Well, you guys, no, we're not giving you 2 first-round picks. We just saw you guys go through this, right? The vultures are going to come out now. I will tell you what, though, whatever team gets them, Kevin, I know it sounds cliche to say, but aren't you going to get a damn freaking motivated Max Crosby now? This guy is like hell to pay type thing.
The Ravens got worse today is one of the things I think lost.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too. And, I like Hendrickson. I'm not going to lie. If he signed with the Bills, they'd be like, all right, cool. Hey, we got Henderson. But, I saw Jason Lockenfora, who I have respect for, and he covers the Baltimore scene, closely. He basically said it's a clown show, that the whole Newsom tree sucks, and they're basically a clown show organization, and people are finding this out now. But, he doesn't stop the run. Like, Max Crosby's a better player than Hendrickson. We'll put it that way.
I think he's a much better player.
The picks. And I'll throw it to you on this, Kevin. Over the years, people criticize Lamar Jackson. Baltimore spent, the least amount of money on offense, in his career. And again, they're throwing money on the defensive guys here, right? But they never pay, a real wide receiver. Right? They never, they always get it's sort of like San Francisco. They get the older guy. Baltimore will sort of get the other guy, the tier 2 guy. They never go all out and just get people on offense to help them.
I wonder to some degree now if under that guideline, if the Eagles wait to trade A.J. Brown in June, does Baltimore call? I wonder if Howie's called Vegas. He's like, hey, can you wait to June? We'll come get Max then. I think that's on the board as well. We'll go through the rest of the card. World Baseball Classic next. All right, game time decisions on a Wednesday night. We're buttoning it up here. We got a lot of good action coming up here. Let me bring the crew picks in quickly, just because sometimes I forget them. I know we do them at the end, but these guys are locked and loaded. This guy finds a pick on a two-night NHL slate. AJ with Italy money line. Chris with Aranda 2+ HRR. And I feel like, Gabe, honestly, that pick is to get me to say that name. It's not happening. He likes a goal scorer on the flyer.
What, Matvei Mishkov?
Yep, exactly. Just like I said, right?
Only 2 games in the NHL tonight. I wasn't feeling it tonight on the ice.
Yeah.
Oh, I got WBC fever too, Kevin. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Let's rock.
The one thing I would just say is that last night, that Oilers-Avs game, like, you knew it was getting to 7, right? Like, you knew it was going to get to 7. McDavid, great goal there that pushed that thing to 4-3 final.
First period over, 1.5 too, Kevin. We brought it up. Yeah. Colorado scored like the first 30 seconds into the game or whatever. It was like boom, boom.
It was still like getting the graphics up on the TV kind of thing, where like they didn't have the clock up or the team names.
No, you're right. They didn't. They were still introducing the starting lineups like after the goal. Like the goal happened, and they were like, "All right, tonight's starters for Colorado." The goal happened. They were like, "Tonight's lines," and it happened. Yeah. So normally when a hockey game starts, they'll do like a quick scroll. The lines, whatever, to line up. All right, these guys are whatever. There's a little quick scroll. He said, yeah, it happened so fast. I was watching it too, and I was confused because I just tuned in, and I heard the announcer in the background. I was like, dude, they scored already. It just started. I was like, oh, good. Like, it's just started.
Yeah. So let's run through it here, Gabe. The World Baseball Classic tonight. Again, like, what's that meme where it's like you accidentally became important at work? Mexico and Italy didn't know that this game was going to matter more to a different country, maybe more than even themselves. This is a great game here, potentially. Mexico around -200, 7.5 listed total. Let people know how you're betting this one.
Yeah, you're bang on about that, too. It's funny that you say that. Dude, yeah, there's some people in Italy that are happy about this, but it's Italian Americans that are celebrating more, right? Yeah. People like, it's not like it was the biggest story ever in Italy, and it'll be just crushing for the U.S. if they get eliminated somehow tonight. But so we talked about Jamal Murray. Our college basketball games have tipped off here. We've got more. Follow me on X after. I'll be posting them. But so we went with Northwestern plus the points, Missouri State, Liberty over. Give me Lehigh. Kevin's going to be on Boston, I think, but give me Lehigh plus the 2.5, and give me Boston U and Lehigh over 138.5 in that game. The total has climbed up its way at 138.5 right now. NBA basketball, give me the Raptors. Give me Jamal Murray over the 21.5 points scored. WBC, I guess I'm a public mark here, Kevin, because I'm going under the number, baby. I got an 8.5, though, earlier in the day. I caught on that everybody was betting the under. So I got an 8.5 to the under. Mexico, Italy, and Dominican Republic, -1.5. It's -140 now. Dominican wins by 2 or more runs.
Yeah, I've ended up on the opposite side of game more than I'd like, quite frankly, including Boston Lehigh, which you wouldn't think, but we've been following the Patriot League here on this show. Boston with the incredible upset of Navy. It's one of these things sometimes you want to be careful laying 2.5. You're like, is that going to factor in? I didn't -135, -140 trust them, which is what the money line was. So I went with the -102 on the 2.5. Their offense is just so much better than Lehigh's. Now, this is a team that is very efficient. They just turn it over a ton. From what I see, though, Lehigh also turns it over a ton. I'm hoping that kind of makes the difference here. We're on that Marquette team total under 80.5, which is off and running right now. A couple of NBA sides, Magic Rockets. I didn't mention this one, Gabe. I was wondering if you looked at this game. Knicks Jazz. Every Utah total for a month was 240.5. I think they've overcorrected here. 230.5. The Knicks can give us 130 in a game like this. I love this over.
I don't disagree with that take. I don't disagree. You got a lot of picks here tonight. You're really rocking Venezuela money line as well.
I'm taking a chance with Venezuela tonight that hopefully Eduardo Rodriguez as a lefty throws off this DR lineup a little bit here. Sandy Alcantara, you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes he looks incredible back to the Cy Young version. Other times he gets blown up. I need Acuna Jr. to kind of set the tone in that game.
But my favorite of, Gabe's right. I got a, good amount of options there. Italy, Mexico over 7.5. Listen, I'm not greedy. It can land 8. I'll be happy for Gabe. I don't need 9, 10. But this, to me, has moved way too much in an Aranola Javier Assad game. Gabe, excellent. As always, he will have you handled here on Thursday and Friday on SportsGrid.